Hi, and welcome to this brief presentation on Chapter 6, the Cloud. In Module 4, we briefly introduced the concept of cloud computing, and in this module we will expand on that brief discussion. At the end of this module, you will be able to define the term cloud computing, describe the underlying technologies that make the cloud possible, describe ways in which businesses can take advantage of the cloud, and discuss the advantages and drawbacks of using cloud computing. So, what is the cloud? The cloud can be defined as elastic leasing of pooled computing resources over the internet. So let's talk about each element in this definition a little. First, the cloud is elastic, which means that an organization can increase or decrease its computing resources on demand. So, for example, rather than building a web server in-house that can cope with the highest possible levels of demand and is therefore underutilized most of the time, we simply use the cloud to add more web servers when the demand increases and decommission them when demand decreases. Second, the cloud involves leasing, so that the organization does not have to own and invest in the computing resources that it needs to run its processes beforehand. Third, the resources in the cloud are pooled, which means that the cloud provider, such as Amazon through its Amazon Web Services, can use the same computer hardware for different clients using virtualization. Pooling resources allows the cloud provider to achieve economies of scale and significantly lower costs. The cost of even a very sophisticated IT infrastructure in the cloud is in the order of cents and dollars per hour. And finally, the cloud makes the computing resources available over the internet, and it's this aspect which allows the elasticity to take place in near real time. Computer networks are crucial to the emergence of cloud computing. The book contains an in-depth discussion of networks and the technologies involved, and you're of course encouraged to read that material carefully. For our purposes, there are 2 points that are the most important. First, you can distinguish between different types of network. A common distinction is between LANs, WANs, and the internet. LANs, or local area networks, are networks of computers in a single site. For example, the network of computers on the USF St. Pete campus is a LAN. WANs, or wide area networks, are networks of computers on multiple sites. The network of all USF computers is an example. Finally, the internet, as you probably know, is a network of networks. Second, what makes networks in general and the internet in particular work are protocols. These are agreed on standards on how to manage communication between computers. The most important protocol for networks is TCP/IP, and the book discusses protocols in great detail. Now that we know a little more about the technology underlying the cloud, how do organizations use it? There are essentially 3 types of service that can be provided through the cloud. The first is SaaS, or software as a service. Under SaaS, organizations use the cloud to allow their employees to access a software application. An example is Microsoft Word Online, which we used in CGS 2100. So rather than using an app on your own machine, you access the app through the cloud. The second type of service through the cloud is PaaS, Platform as a Service. Under this model, you can use the internet to run another computer on your computer. If you used a Mac to complete the access exercise in the previous module, you used PaaS. And if you're using a PC, you will start using PaaS in Module 9. The final and most intensive use of the cloud is IaaS, Infrastructure as a Service. This allows you to create an entire IT infrastructure in the cloud. A good example is Amazon's EC2. This allows you to provision data servers, web servers, and what else you want in one of Amazon's data centers, and then use this instead of building your own servers, installing your own software, and so on, and then making it available to users. The ability to use IaaS makes it possible for, in particular, startups to build sophisticated IT infrastructures without a significant upfront investment. Another distinction you can make is based on where the cloud is located. In a private cloud, you are using cloud technologies to make a cloud available on your own network. An example are the virtual machines we are using in this course. The technology we use is cloud technology, but the virtual machines that you access are hosted on USFSP's own servers. In a public cloud, you use the services of a cloud provider. The problem is, of course, that this may lead to security problem if access to the services you are using is completely open. However, you can avoid the problem by using a so-called virtual private network, or VPN. A VPN essentially allows you to access a resource over the internet as if you had set up your own private network with your own direct connection to the resource. When you set up the VM for this course, you will first create a VPN. Using a VPN to access a resource on a public cloud is called a virtual private cloud. A hybrid cloud, finally, combines elements of a private cloud with those of a public cloud. For example, an organization may decide to use a public cloud for its web servers, but to use a private cloud for its database servers. Given the importance of the cloud, why would companies move to the cloud, and why might they be reluctant to do so? This slide lists the advantages of using the cloud and the advantages of using in-house solutions, and every advantage of one turns out to be a drawback of the other. So, the advantages of using the cloud include smaller capital requirements and a predictable cost structure. Using even a sophisticated cloud solution is in the order of around $1 per hour, and you know in advance how much things are going to cost. Another advantage is speedy development. Most cloud providers already include sophisticated services that you can use out of the box, so to speak. Elasticity. You can increase or decrease computing resources on demand. Automatic backup and recovery. For example, when you build an IT infrastructure in Amazon's cloud, the IT infrastructure is duplicated in a number of different Amazon data centers. And if, for some reason, the primary data center goes down, Amazon automatically switches you to the backup data center. Finally, because you do not have to train and manage the personnel to run your own IT infrastructure, the need to train personnel is much lower, and the management cost is lower. All of this, of course, results in much lower cost. However, the main drawback of using the cloud, and hence the main advantage of provisioning the computer resources in-house, is that you become very dependent on your cloud provider, that you don't really control where your data is stored, and that you have limited visibility for security and disaster recovery, as the policies and procedures related to this are controlled by the cloud provider. And this concludes this brief presentation on Chapter 6. Please read the chapter thoroughly and contact me if you have any questions. Thank you.